So in the old school arena, so only using 5 stars, I ended up coming 32nd, which was actually better than what I anticipated on, because honestly, endurance mode, there's no chance that I'm going to get like any rings from that being in Diamond 4 and playing as a free-to-play player. So I was pretty happy that I even got some league tokens, and this was the defensive team that I ran actually. So Morgan plus 30% defense and a very large bonus to AP when taking damage. So by using this as a skill, it just means these characters, they have a pretty fast rushing AP. So if you target anyone on the first turn, there's a decent chance of someone being able to rush the next turn. On Morgan, I have an absolute defense weapon. On my Shiva, I actually have AP down when being attacked. On Heath, AP down when being attacked. My Michonne shield, absolute defense, and Priya, just her normal, stun when being attacked. Now, you might think Morgan is an interesting lead with a very large bonus to AP when taking damage if I'm running a human shield like Michonne, but I actually don't mind her rush because it will cause attack down to my enemy, to that enemy and all adjacent, so it makes it harder for them to actually kill my team. I ran a windowless team, meaning there's no safe targets for the enemy to attack and gain AP no matter what. Absolute defense will block damage and prevent AP gain. My AP down weapons when being attacked obviously will also prevent AP gain. And then Priya, her stun weapon. So because so few people have a disarm 5-star toon, a windowless team I think is very effective, assuming the other team does not have all 8% AP weapons and can rush regardless of having to attack. Now, I love Priya because she's a fast rushing toon and can confuse 3 enemies for 2 turns. I still run her on one of my normal teams against some fast rushing 6-star toons and teams, This Morgan, he's a healer as well as defense buffs. Shiva can taunt enemies into her, but she also applies maim damage. And in the 5-star era, there are very few toons who can recover all penalties or maim damage. So I think she's a very effective toon on this team, especially with a very large bonus to AP when taking damage, because she has a very large bonus to AP when taking damage on her claws as well. So if she starts to go off, she could continually keep going off, especially by having Heath, who's a command toon. And if Heath goes off, everyone gets a attack and defensive bonus. So really this team I think is decently put together because you can quickly fall into loops of being stuck. Because my team can get really tanky, it can decrease your attack, it can increase my defense and my attack, I can taunt you, I can stun you, I can confuse you, I can heal myself. There's just a lot of different options that I have with it for my defensive team. I would love to hear what all of you ran for your 5-star teams, or if you even participated, because I know some people were locked out for quite a while. So here's just a run through on the damage squad arena. So in damage, you have to have 2 toons that are considered damage toons. So I had this question before, like, why can't I use this team? And it's because some players were using too many support characters and not enough damage. You need 2 damage characters, and they will actually get a boost in their stats on either attack or on defense. So right now, I'm kind of looking at the points that I could get from a team if I were to attack them. And I'm just categorizing them again from most points to least points for the top 4, because I want to attack the one with the least amount of points of the top 4 first, all the way up to the most amount for my last attack where my points multiplier will benefit me the most. So I need to create a team that is effective against all 4 teams, which can honestly be quite difficult for people because if they are not similar teams that you're fighting, it becomes kind of confusing as to what will actually work. Like, I'm deciding to go with my bleed team at the moment, and I thankfully have 2 damage toons already in this team, so I don't really need to change much about it. The biggest downside to this team is that I sometimes lose a character, especially Lily, and with a variety of different teams that I'm fighting against, it can be difficult to, well, not lose a toon because you have to have a one team fits all, or at least fits four. And those teams can be vastly different and can cause different status effects, have different mod resists, and just be able to attack your team in a very specific way. And without running a human shield, I have to be really careful with how I attack every single team. So the first match was pretty easy. It looks like it was their auto set defense team that they did not adjust, same as this team because there's no rhyme or reason to a lot of the toons here. So I expected 2 quick wins, which is always really nice and helpful, to be honest, because it means I don't have to factor those 2 teams into the team that I'm building in order to fight. Instead, I can just focus on the last 2 teams that seem to be more well put together, in my opinion. This one is still a bit of a mismatch because you have Diego in there, but the other toons seem to work really well together. And if you think about it, Diego's still a pretty decent toon. Even not being leader, if he's able to rush, he defense downs your team and impairs them. So he creates a very difficult environment for many teams. So here you see I was just able to focus on Negan. I was able to stun him and then bleed him out. So now I have 3 successful attacks in a row. And now I'm going to take on the person who will give me the most amount of points. So this team is a little daunting because I know the doctor can rush on turn 1 if I'm not able to stop either Nick or him. But by turn 2, I'm not going to have a focus ability in order to get around Andrea. So I tried to taunt Nick first and then bleed Andrea out so that next turn I'd be able to focus on the rest of the team. Now, this part's also difficult because I know Michelle would have used her active skill to AP gain. By stunning Mia, she can't revive anyone else because she has her rush, which can revive, and her active skill. So I think this will bleed Nick out, and then I just have these 2 toons left. Again, Mia is the main issue because of her rush and her active skill, but because she remained stunned for the whole time, I was able to beat that team fairly easily. So now that 3 of my toons are worn out, I have to make a decision on how I want to move forward with it because it can be quite difficult in order to decide what is important for your team. For me, I saved Charlie because he's still one of a kind to me. Meanwhile, I can use Davy instead of Shiva, and I can use Louie instead of Lily if I need a disarm toon. So just taking a look at the scoreboard, I'm far out of getting anything of value, but I'm going to take a look at my defense, the few that I had. So as you see, I kind of put up a troll team as my defensive team. By having a weak team with reflect weapons on them, I can, by the off chance, actually kill one of the opponent's toons. This leads to them getting less points because there's less stars, and obviously I want to try to limit the number of points that my opponents get from me. Now, obviously this method, as you see, doesn't work every time, but the times that it does work, it does create some frustration, I think, for my enemies, and it might cause them to skip over me next time, which means I get a few trophies just for them not deciding to attack me. So I did end up doing 2 attacks on the damage squad arena, because if you take a look at my milestones, I was sitting at 16, and by doing 1 more attack, I move up to 17. So by not doing any more attacks there, I have 3 tickets for the Champions Arena, which means I have 3 attacks to do, which will bring me up to the next milestone of 20, which would give me 1 additional attack in the Champions Arena. So I don't expect to do very well in the Champions Arena anyway. I guess it's just having that extra ticket and, maybe being able to get another silver ticket, a normal one, because those have been dropping for me from wins, and that's really useful to me. I've also had some mod scraps dropping for me, which is again something useful in the game. I wish we would get a kind of overview on what can drop and the percentages of them dropping, when you win a match. I think that would be very useful to the player. Anyway, thank you again for watching and listening to my video.